The era of the passive Marvel fan? Yeah, it's officially dead. While Disney has historically guarded their scripts behind, these massive iron vaults, the reality of 2026 is that fans are deploying generative AI and multimodal language models to just seize the director's chair. You're no longer just a viewer anymore. You are an alternate timeline architect. Make sure you stick around to the end of this explainer to see how Disney is actually helping you do this, and we'll break down the exact desktop setup that makes the whole thing possible.
I want you to really sit with this explosive question for a second. What if you directed the Avengers? Look, every fandom has those unresolved emotional desires, right? Characters we desperately wanted saved, darker storylines we wish they explored, or just completely different endings. Up until now, that was just a fun what-if conversation you'd have with your friends. But what if you could override the biggest blockbusters in history with a single prompt straight from your bedroom? AI has literally weaponized that imagination into true production capability, and we're going to show you exactly how it works.
We're watching a massive paradigm shift unfold right now, where the audience is becoming the studio. Think about it. For 15 years, we've spent thousands of hours emotionally invested in the MCU. We bought the tickets, we analyzed every single frame of the trailers, and we built all those wild fan theories. It's not just entertainment, it's shared cinematic memory. But traditionally, all we could really do was theorize and, well, complain on Reddit. Now, we don't have to wait years for studio sequels or ask for permission. The monopoly over blockbuster storytelling is collapsing right in front of us. To put this into perspective, just look at the contrast. Old Hollywood required billion-dollar budgets, massive physical motion capture stages, literal armies of visual effects artists, and giant server farms just to render a single explosion. But the 2026 fan creator setup, it requires nothing more than high-end consumer GPUs, open-source AI models, and multimodal large language models. These are basically super smart text and image engines that compress an entire industrial filmmaking pipeline into a standard desk setup. The cost and access barrier hasn't just dropped, it is completely plummeted to near zero.
And this brings us to a brand new identity in entertainment, the prosumer director. To be clear, this isn't just someone writing text-based fan fiction in a forum. This is a fan using AI-powered industrial-grade tools to create blockbuster-level alternate media. You aren't a traditional filmmaker holding a camera, and you definitely aren't a passive viewer eating popcorn anymore. You are a hybrid creator-engineer. You're mixing storytelling intuition, knowing exactly when a character should pause for dramatic effect, with technical prompting mechanics to make the AI generate that exact emotion. You no longer ask for permission to change the cinematic canon, you just engineer it.
So let's dive into how this dynamic reconstruction actually works in practice. First, you feed a legacy MCU script into a massive neural network, like a GPT-5 variant or Gemini 3. Next, the model reads it and extracts the underlying narrative logic, character archetypes, and emotional arcs. It actually learns what makes the movie tick. From there, you prompt alternate branches in real time, changing key decisions on the fly. And finally, the engine renders new cinematic video and audio. Because the AI deeply understands franchise continuity, it maps the logic perfectly, making sure your new scene actually makes sense within the larger universe.
Just imagine dropping this exact prompt into your workflow. Rewrite Endgame where Tony survives but Steve sacrifices himself instead. The AI fundamentally gets Tony's sarcasm, his emotional fatigue, and his paternal relationship with Peter Parker. It doesn't just spit out a text summary of what happens next. It generates structurally believable scenes, thematic callbacks, and emotionally consistent dialogue tailored to that very specific, heartbreaking scenario. It's not just a plot shift. It is synthetic cinema that actually feels like a lost cut of the real movie.
And the tech transitions seamlessly from the script to reconstructing the spectacle of the battlefield itself. I mean, the Avengers films are built on massive emotional spectacle, right? Think of the iconic portal scene or Thor's lightning field entrance in Wakanda. Well, fans are now overriding studio mandates to insert sidelined characters directly into those major conflict zones. You want Wolverine slicing his way into the Endgame climax, or Dr. Doom appearing out of nowhere to hijack the timeline? The emotional fantasy is becoming a tangible visual reality.
What's absolutely staggering here is the sheer firepower sitting on a modern desk right now. The 2026 industrial-grade toolkit features video generation models like Kling 3.0 and Sora, which understand physics and lighting well enough to deliver true cinematic quality. For audio, platforms like 11 Labs and Fish Speech are cloning emotional, heroic voices from incredibly short audio samples. You can literally make Iron Man yell or whisper flawlessly. And running this locally, you're using high-end consumer hardware, like the NVIDIA RTX 5090 with 32 gigs of VRAM, alongside local workflow tools like One-Tuna 2 and LTX Studio. You're replacing entire Hollywood data centers with the exact same rig you might use for gaming.
Because of these rapid diffusion video and audio breakthroughs, we're getting results that blow earlier AI completely out of the water. We are seeing physics-compliant superhero combat where punches actually connect. We're getting true cinematic camera movement and latent space tracking. Think of latent space tracking as the AI's ability to mathematically remember exactly what an object or face looks like from frame to frame. It finally solves those weird, morphing AI flickering issues we all used to see. Plus, creator communities are freely sharing open-source LoRAs, which act like hyper-specific style filters to perfectly match MCU cinematography, lighting, and color grading. It's wild.
Now, to be completely fair and objective here, this AI magic still faces some real quality gaps. We definitely still hit that uncanny valley, where a character looks just slightly off enough to be a bit creepy. We see physics glitches when trying to generate ultra-long, coherent scenes without stitching them together. And yeah, there can sometimes be a plasticky, synthetic feel. Pro results don't just magically pop out of a single prompt. They still require a ton of heavy iteration, specific reference images, and deep post-editing in software like DaVinci Resolve to really bridge the gap between a cool tech demo and a real movie.
But even with those gaps, the sheer volume of high-quality content being generated is leading to what researchers are calling the canon collapse. Traditionally, everyone watched the exact same movie at the theater. The studio completely controlled reality and the official storyline. But when you have millions of alternate timelines existing simultaneously on platforms like YouTube and X, where in one timeline Thor joins Wanda to destroy the universe, and in another Hulk snaps instead of Tony, the concept of a single official canon gets completely destabilized. The audience is now actively choosing their preferred reality. Which naturally brings up a pretty massive controversial question. Who actually owns a character? Is it the massive corporation that funded the movies and owns the trademark? Is it the actor whose physical likeness and voice are being synthetically replicated? Or does ownership partly belong to the audience who has been emotionally invested in and financially supporting this universe for 15 years? AI has intensified this conflict dramatically, sparking an intense copyright war across the entertainment industry that's forcing everyone to rethink intellectual property from the ground up. This whole situation sparks a highly complex legal reality. But rather than just unleashing armies of lawyers to fight the tide, studios are actually adapting. Take Disney's landmark 2025 OpenAI licensing deal, for example. They licensed over 200 characters specifically for Sora-generated fan content. Now, there are strict brand integrity filters applied, so no, you probably can't make Captain America do anything too R-rated, and unauthorized commercial deepfakes still face massive takedown risks. But it highlights a strategic shift toward controlled openness. They're embracing transformative, non-commercial creativity instead of trying to ban it outright.
The biggest takeaway from all of this? Cinema is literally turning into software. The movies we love are no longer static products that just sit on a physical shelf or get locked into a streaming service forever. They are becoming adaptive, living narrative systems. In the near future, studios might not even release fixed 2-hour films at all. They might just drop narrative engines, allowing you to generate your own personalized emotional tones, pacing, and character arcs in real time. You essentially hit play on an experience tailored entirely to your tastes.
If we look back at the trajectory over the last decade, the shift in power is just staggering. Back in 2012, building the MCU meant massive visual effects server farms and thousands of artists working around the clock. Up until 2025, we were stuck in the era of passive waiting, literally sitting around for years hoping the next sequel would be decent. Then 2025 hit, with those breakthrough studio IP licensing deals that finally opened the gates. Now, in 2026, we are witnessing the absolute rise of the prosumer director. And looking ahead, we're stepping into an era of infinite interactive franchises where we are the active architects of the story.
The barrier between the viewer and the creator, it has officially collapsed. AI isn't just changing the technical mechanics of filmmaking, it's fundamentally changing the ownership of imagination itself. Hollywood no longer holds the monopoly on blockbuster storytelling. The tools to resurrect fallen characters, direct massive battles, and create wildly divergent alternate realities are sitting right there on your desk. The next massive, culture-defining cinematic experience might not come from a sterile studio lot in LA, it might come straight from your bedroom. The multiverse is yours.
So the only question left is, are you ready to join the prosumer revolution?
We are literally watching the greatest shift in entertainment history unfold right now. If you want to stay on the absolute cutting edge of this AI filmmaking revolution, smash that like button on this explainer and subscribe to the channel right now. We're going to keep breaking down the tools, the tech, and the future of storytelling. Thanks so much for watching, and go start directing. Seriously, which movie are you going to rewrite first?